So we're on anything? All right. Well, it's close enough to 7, so I will call the meeting to order. Been a while since we'll put it together, so good to see everybody. First item on the agenda is to approve the minutes from our last meeting back in October. Should have all seen them in his email back in October. I saw one typo on page 3. Other than that, I saw no issues. I can toss this over to you, Katrina, if you want, but third paragraph has got 2 as's. Carport will be the same distance as. If anyone doesn't see any other issues.
On page 1, there's a couple times when Finley is spelled finally. As long as he was bringing up that. I would move to approve the minutes as amended. Second.
All right, all those,
Yep.
all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? And no one's opposed, so that is approved. Next item is our applicant I will open the public hearing. I will read the formal reading of the public notice posted in the Sentinel and on the front of the building if anyone wants to look through the ice. Is everyone familiar with the property? All right, then if you'd like to come up, grab a seat and give us summary, I'm sure we'll have questions,
Cedar, standard.
whatever works for you.
Grab a seat. I would, yeah, I think I spelled it out pretty clear in there. Right now, we have an existing pad. There's existing structures off the Quonset hut. Ideally, I'd like to take a building, put it in that same spot. I would come. I can't go too far over just based on trees that were cut down in the septic right next to that. So to be, if I held the same line, it would kind of be a false line. It would be technically the wall would be 2 feet in to compensate for the 1 foot overhang in the building. But I have a little bit of wiggle room, up to 3 feet and come in from the property line. But the biggest thing is there's a pad that's already existing there, concrete. No clue how thick it is, but one of those things where you're sure as soon as I get into it, it's going to be a lot more work than.
So you mentioned the pad, are you going to be expanding beyond that pad using smaller?
If you're looking in the driveway, the pad would go to the east. Because right now there's 2 lean-tos. So it's roughly that lean-to line would be about 42 feet or 44 feet.
And I think you said that this existed when you bought the property.
Yep.
So
And,
when did you buy the property roughly?
what is 2020? Is that like the height of COVID, I believe? May 2020, we closed on it.
All right, close enough. And I think you said you think it's been there since 55, give or take.
The best of my knowledge, that was the previous survey we had. It was on that, so it probably was there before that even.
What I'm after there is it's not new.
Yeah,
It
no,
may predate zoning.
yeah, exactly. And it served its purpose when I was fixing the house up. It's mostly dry, but now it's starting to get starting to get worse for the winter. And it's not true. It's functional, but it's not looking very well.
On your map you submitted, there is another shed back here a ways. Is the intent to remove that once the new one is built?
Yes, I can't promise it'd be this year, 'cause if this all goes through, I'd like to build it end of summer, but yes, long term, next year, that would be good.
All right. And the pole barn goes in instead of the Quonset hut.
Lean-to.
So on the application, you said 0.2 feet. And you just mentioned 3 feet in talking.
That's what I could, that's the max I could come off, because like if I was to match wall for wall, I would technically overhang the property line with the overhang of the roof, so to be the same exact footprint from like above, I would come in 2 feet with a 1 foot overset, but yeah, pretty much on the line as it is now. But I have room
So
that I could go 3 feet off, so it'd be a foot off the property line all said and done. clear. It's clear.
You could technically work with 3, but 0.2 is what is at right now in effect.
Yes.
All right.
There's a field there.
Yeah, there is.
Is there a hedgerow there or?
It's all over the ground. It was once a field. Now it is a
So no, it's fine.
young forest. No, it is, it's Paul Smith. He wanted to build a house on it, I think 15, 20 years ago. Took it, come to town, didn't see eye to eye, took it pretty far. And I believe he took it to the Supreme Court. They wouldn't hear it because of a preceding case the week before they got ruled on. So now he's just holding on to it. Can't do anything with it, but he's still in love with the lot. I talked with him, he's fine with it.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
I didn't know how much of a hedgerow was there before actually it was a lot, right? The
Yeah.
hedgerow.
I don't think it was ever a clear field, I mean, just based on like some of the growth that's there, it's definitely filled in. Like a little bit you can see when you pass it on the road.
Oh,
It's weird because it's like off the road, it's like scraggly, like probably the last 20, 30 years, but then
like how
past
you
that.
want it, like, yeah, you got locust back.
Yeah,
there
yeah,
that
I got-
are 80
yeah,
years
they
old,
actually-
yeah.
Okay, so no one's doing the property line, it's not like they're running up,
Yeah, there's no houses, no nothing.
there's no. They're not doing any tillage up to the property, line. Not
Correct. No farming. In a perfect world, if everyone could sell, I hope to get that as well. But
In which case the issue would disappear.
yeah, exactly.
Anybody else have any more questions? All right. As there are no further questions, I will waive the formal asking of the 5 questions because they were covered both in discussion and the application. Anyone in the public like to comment? All right. Anyone online, Katrina? Didn't think so, but thought I'd ask. In that case, a motion to close the public hearing?
Second.
All right. All those in favor? Any opposed? All right, and the public hearing is closed. Gentlemen, would you like to act on this tonight? Shall we toss this on this tomorrow? All right. I did write up a draft determination, which we can hopefully go through and adjust as needed. I'll read through that. Soon we will get the motion in second. The area variance requested by Zach Smith for to erect a 44 by 40 foot pole barn to replace the existing Quonset hut with a setback of 0.2 feet, whereas code required 15 feet. Be approved based on the following. Zach Smith, the property owner, appeared before the zoning board at the public hearing on today's date. Section 260-106, the amended zoning code states RS30 has a side setback of 15 feet. The applicant is requesting a side setback of approximately 0.2 feet. There's an existing Quonset hut garage with carport next to it on the site. The applicant states this was a situation when the property was purchased and believes this hut has been there for at least 55 years. The existing Quonset hut has an effective side setback of 0 feet. As this structure has begun to deteriorate, the applicant intends to replace it. The new structure will be a pole barn, reusing as much of the old structure's footprint as practical. The applicant acknowledges the possibility of working with a 3-foot setback. He claims there will be difficulties as construction will start encroaching on the septic system. And there's an existing storage shed on the property, which the applicant plans to demolish once the new garage is finished and able to be used for storage space. Does anyone see anything that should be adjusted in that? Anything we should add to that? I'm not seeing anyone speaking up, so no members of the public commented during the public hearing. On the second page, the application was sent to the county plan review. Got comments back dated February 17th. Did you look at those, David?
I did.
So it sounds like a complete non-issue from their viewpoint. That was my
They had
read of
some
it.
standard comments, which the applicant should be mindful of. They're fairly standard, but they did point out various things like, possible wetland or agricultural impacts and stuff like that. Not really for us to be concerned about, but especially as you get to the building phase of your project, You're gonna want to take a look at those, just make sure. You know, you've addressed anything that applies to your property.
Did you receive a copy of those comments? All right. So if all of that sounds good, I would say that the request cannot be achieved by other feasible means as it's in land use prevention relocating. Looks good with that. I would say it is not substantial as it has no greater impact on the existing structure. I could see the other way as.
I think it has to do the opposite, that it is substantial just because it's actually no setback. So reducing from 15 to 1.
But
is substantial request.
It's an existing structure.
I know, but I'm fully in favor of the variance. I just think the request is substantial because what it's asking for is to reduce the setback from 15 feet to 3.
I'm just curious, so when you bought the property, does, how many of the cows, is that closet grandfathered in?
Depending on when it was built, it may well be, a non-conforming use. But in this case, so long as that structure exists there, and let's say, it was struck by lightning or something that needed to be rebuilt, you could rebuild it without needing to get a variance. But if the intention is to just remove and demolish that structure and build a new one there, even though you're building more or less the same footprint, you're not reconstructing the building, you're actually increasing the extent of the non-conformity. That's why we need to get a variance. So you kind of, once you remove the structure, you start from scratch, you start from zero, and that's why, to Steve's point, you're effectively, just Steve Max's point, you're talking about 15-foot as being a 100% substantial variance.
So is substantial as a significant reduction of the required setback? Anyone have an objection to that? Seeing uncertainty, but I'm also seeing three that seems a good idea.
I think because it's an existing site, an existing pad, it's not substantial. It'd be one thing if you were doing it new, it's already there. Like, yeah. I'm fine with what we're doing.
So disagreement on the point.
Between practicality and the attorney.
Mhm, mhm. No, I agree, but
So
Question.
I'm indifferent, so whatever makes you happy.
In all this, do we also need to address Corey noting that it's more than 2%?
no, because I talked with Corey about that more. And because this is effectively a detached garage, it becomes a moot point. Also, if you remove the shed, you're fine.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah. you put
right.
that in.
right, which is why I mentioned, so the 2% is a non-issue. Unless other things come into play down the road, which it sounds like they won't happen, so there you go. But it also sounds like we agree that it is substantial and a significant reduction of the required setback. It would not have any adverse physical or environmental effects as it is replacing an existing structure. And not have an undesirable change in the neighborhood as there has been a similar structure in this location for a number of years.
And it's pretty well set back from the road too.
It will make the neighborhood look better.
And it was not self-created as a previous owner of the property built the existing structure in this location. Type 2 action under seeker. I see no need for any conditions. So if all of that sounds good, motion to approve that.
So
2nd.
All right, all those in favor? Aye. All right, any opposed? No one opposed, then you have your approval.
Appreciate it.
We have another meeting on March 9th. False or something similar like that, a front setback. With that, anyone have anything else to discuss? All right, motion to adjourn. All right, second.
Hey, Chris.
Who seconded? I didn't second. All right. All those in favor?
Hi.
All right.
I'm coming back from Albany on the 9th, so I'll try to be here.